Coffeyville, or the, no, yeah, that's the three. Initial results look good on increasing reading at that early stages, and we're hoping to expand in that across the state. That's both outside private money and some funds that we have, and I'm hopeful of expanding that too. But that's how I'd like to see us go forward. Keep your base stable, so these guys know what to plan. I know I got this, and then if we have something that the state really wants to grow, you put the funds into it, and that's what we've done.
As a follow-up, do you think that your augmentations that you talked about would be as effective in the event that the legislature does in fact pass these higher education cuts of 4% that they're proposing?
I think it hurts them. I think it's a momentum killer. That's what I said at the outset. That's quoting, I think the president of K-State said it's a momentum killer. They've got a big push on to be a top 50 public research university by 2025, I think it is. KU's got a bold aspirations program that's quite impressive. You've got an impressive one here at Emporia State and seeking to raise $45 million private dollars, which is a big number for a school of this size. I mean, these are all on top of your base, but the givers, they don't want to give to replace the base. They want to give to build on top of that, and that's why I think it would be harmful to this effort to really move up higher education and what it delivers in the state. We're a small state population-wise. We're 1% of the U.S. population, so we cannot provide the highest ranked higher education for everybody in every field. Maybe you could if you're California, although that's even questionable. But you're not going to do that in a state with 1% of the U.S. population. But we can be very good in a number of selected categories that we pick, and we say we're going to be in this. And anymore, if you're not going to be world class at something, you might want to think 2 times about getting on the field. You better, if you're going to get out there, then you got to be willing to step up and say we're going to be very good at this.
Are those that we don't
Last
select?
question.
Those that we don't select.
Well, let's go here with we got one then.
Hi, Kinsey Templeton. I'm editor of the campus newspaper, the Bulletin. Governor Brownback, today you held a private meeting with university officials and other policy segment individuals, including the deans of each of our 5 schools, to discuss presumably public business, including Foresight 2020. It seems this meeting was subject to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, at least in spirit, because you discussed public policy and other public issues regarding higher education. COMA states that even if no binding action is taken during a meeting, it is the discussion itself that triggers COMA. So my question for you is, why was your meeting today closed? What was the need for the secrecy of that meeting?
I'd be happy to answer COMA questions afterwards if
Okay.
you have questions on that. Did you have a question at all?
I've got one. Chuck Samples, KVA here in Emporia. I know there's, you've got the flat, stable funding that's out there, that's your plan. There's been talk about lawmakers that are looking at a possibility of a 2% cut. There's 4% cut to education. There's a possibility of a salary cap coming in. Should lawmakers go with cuts, how do you wind up proceeding with the possibility of at least keeping that flat, stable funding for the base alive? And then how do you I guess, suggest that universities proceed, because they're going to have their work cut out for them, obviously?
Well, I hope the universities right now spend time talking with legislators and telling them, well, look, here, let's go through the numbers with you. This is what this does here, and just lay it out very factually, very calmly. But this is what happens, so that people can look at that and understand the consequences. As I mentioned, we have a very good legislature with a lot of new people. So they're looking, we've got a pile of money and you're going to raise $45 million more. That sounds like we could pull some away from here. And I think we're going to be able to work through this, and that's going to be my effort. I had an extensive meeting with leadership yesterday, earlier in the week. I'm talking to see which ways we can move these things together and forward, and I'm hopeful we're going to be able to get this done. The whole thing leans together, and that's kind of the real problem with it. Unlike Washington, where you could just borrow and print money and you get used to that system, but at the end it gets you in real trouble, and that's where we are right now. Here, your receipts have to lean up against your expenditures, and you got to balance them. And so there would be no problem spending the funds if it wasn't for the issue, probably the 0.6 cent sales tax extension. And so that's the one that people get caught up on, and they say, well, I don't want to do that, but you know, we're saying we need to have stable funding for higher ed, and they're saying, yeah, I want to do that. Okay, well, if we're going to do that, then these tie in, they lean up against each other. You guys are kind to be out. Thank you very much. You've got an excellent university, and I'm really, really pleased to see the things taking place here and growing. Keep it up. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, Governor, part of Arbor Day